Hello, double GDP community. It is great to see you all again. I am here from what has turned out to be a fairly chilly day in San Francisco in Bernal Heights, and so I'm wearing 3 layers, but that gives me a good incentive to keep the updates brief today. But we have some very exciting news today. We have conducted our first end-to-end test where users from Nkwashi have logged on, created a user, and scanned that user in. We did that this morning with two brave souls from the Nkwashi team, to whom we are incredibly grateful, and it passed on the very first try. So it was really quite a joy to see it happen. And we have what hopefully will become a famous screenshot of one person holding up an image of a cell phone that has successfully scanned somebody in. So I am thrilled. I think this is a great first step, and helps us build some momentum to getting a rollout to guards so that people are actually using the application as soon as possible. On that front, we had hoped to do a deployment this week with guards, and we were warned that some personnel issues that they're dealing with on our customer side may derail that, and it turns out that we were not able to do that. So that's a little disappointing, but we also have some good traction and are going to take a step back and plan that out with them a little bit more methodically, so that we have a good expectation on the next go round. So we are pushing that forward as quickly as possible, and in the meantime we have a backlog of things that we're pretty comfortable working on, and I'll come back to that later in this conversation. On the product front, so on the product front, Mark is going to take us through a lot more of that information in his update. So you'll get to see the product in action, and I just can't be more thrilled with the progress that Mark has made on the building of the app. On the design, we also had a great week where Ahmed has put together a clickable prototype that will be useful as soon as we're ready to start rolling out. So that's going to be something that's very lightweight to be able to hand to a user so that they can actually click through and see how the application is using. We can narrate it. We can do training remotely. It's a great framework and starting place to being able to do training. So he takes you through that in his update, and very excited for you guys to see how that works. Let's see, so on the market side, Jay has a few updates that he's sharing there in terms of things we've learned. But in addition to that, I had some really good conversations with a few other people related in the industry, a professor of African urbanization, one who's working at Amazon's Smart City Lab, and somebody who's involved in the talent recruitment industry of entrepreneurial solutions to government problems. So I'll have notes of that available relatively soon, but one of just the key takeaways has just been how welcoming and willing to share people are around the mission of this. I think there is definitely a sense that urban innovation just has this amazing potential, and every time I have conversations with other people in the field, it's just really energizing, because there's a willingness to share openly, to be a part of something big, and a desire to help make cities really work well for the populations, and to help the governments that are struggling to keep up with the demands that are just changing very quickly. So that's been beautiful, and more to come in that regards, I think, as soon as we get a product up in use. Turning to a customer update, then, the big news here is that we had our first customer council meeting with Nkwashi this week. Jay goes into a lot of detail about some of the things that we learned there. At a high level, my takeaway here has been that we're really on the right track, focusing on security first. And I think this gives a very natural growth into some of the other use cases that we had on our radar around communication, and just being able to make sure at a very fundamental level, I think the idea that the application is rooted in gate access and in security, but then has ability for residents to call on guards if they see something and want to have a little bit more comfort, like if they're walking on a street and just feel unsafe for whatever reason, having the app be able to beckon to a guard, I think could be a very powerful use case. And then also being able to make sure that the guards give them a good experience. So just even in the basic way of saying, we want the guards to be there to provide security for the site, but are also accountable to helping residents have a great experience and make their lives easy and efficient. I think those are all things that we can sort of grow into very rapidly in the application, and use cases that I'm pretty excited about. So it was great to hear that and talk through some of those. On the radar there, we also heard that there's going to be a music festival sometime soon, and are excited to think about ways that we can grow the application to be an entry pass to that festival. I think this is more in the brainstorm phase now. I wouldn't say that this is necessarily high priority, but it was something that excited me, the idea of a lot of people coming to the site, and a good sort of growth opportunity that we should at least have on our radar and be considering pretty soon. More grounded in terms of company, we met this week. We met an outsourcing agency. We actually had a couple of conversations with outsourcing agencies in Africa, and we are moving forward with one, and we still have a conversation going with another, and want to, yeah, we're just really excited about some of the talent that we've met in Africa, and looking forward to sort of getting something finalized. So hopefully we'll have a front-end engineer joining us next week. I think, knock on wood, that everything goes smoothly there, but we're excited about the potential of having a good partner and being able to move forward quickly. On the company front, we also have presence now on Facebook and LinkedIn, just kind of like administrative stuff, but gives us a place to grow and be able to share announcements. I also intend to tweet this. One of my first company-related tweets will be of this post. So it's exciting to start a social media presence, and I think our reach will grow there shortly. In terms of thinking about next sprint, we will be planning that out later this week, but some of the high priority cases on our radar are building a more robust rollout plan with our customer, just so we can think through the logistics of getting phones, getting guards trained, getting sort of everything lined up so that we have a date around rollout that sort of gives us both some milestones to track to and some dates that we can agree on where we're dependent upon each other to roll things out. In the meantime, we're working on design enhancements, getting the app to be able to take photos, and we'll do some additional QA that we have on tap. Excuse me. We'll onboard a front-end engineer that should provide a lot of lift in that regard, and then finalize a lot of the Zambia trip logistics so that we are ready and have a good research agenda when we're there. So that's all the news from Bernal Heights this week. Excited to hear comments and feedback, and looking forward to engaging more with the whole community in the next couple of weeks. All right, take care.